Welcome. My name is Captain Tom, and welcome aboard the Silverwind, where we have an opportunity to fight back against the chaos that's growing in our cultures and connections by sharing stories. And it's through shared stories that brings people together, which is ultimately the goal here on board the Silverwind. So we do that with stories that are time-tested, have universal meaning, and yeah, today we're going to actually be talking about a story called Bisclavret, and it's a werewolf story, so that should be a lot of fun. And then we're also going to go to a place in the solar system today, which will be Mars. So I'm super excited about that. I am joined by my co-host, Wilson. He's an intergalactic robot, so he will not have a mic or camera because that would be a little weird. But yeah, you know, he's got all kinds of inhuman opinions over there. So but he'll be running the show over there. And at the very end, Wilson is going to try and earn your like and subscribe because he doesn't believe that I could do that on my own. So with that said, we have to first go to our sponsors, and I believe that Wilson, you said you had a video prepared for our sponsor for today, right? Okay. Well, hold up. Like, what's the format of the video? Astronaut? No. We can't do that. No. Ryan George has already done that. He's the Screen Rant guy. He does the pitch meetings. Thematically that makes sense. I mean, kudos on that, but no, we can't just copy people. I know, you know, copying is like the best form of flattery or something like that, but no, we can't do that, Wilson. So sorry, Wilson doesn't understand some things. So we won't be reading any sponsors today, but we do sponsor ourselves. So I have a book. It's in the link in the description. Send you over there to Amazon. If you're looking for a simple and fun read, I've got you. So with that, let's go ahead and get over to Mars here. So a few things to work out on that. Let's see. Will that do it? All right, I think so. Perfect. All right. No, we'll work on it, Wilson. It'll be fine. So yeah, we'll get the whole sponsor thing down eventually. Eventually we'll read our sponsors, so that'll be nice. And here we go. It's gonna be a very short wormhole ride. Mars really isn't that far from Earth. And I also have a few things I wanted to say about Mars. Let's go ahead, and there she is. Look at that, guys. Let's see, make sure we're locked in place. Easy day. All right, so Mars is behind me, and yeah, I actually have something fun I want to show you guys here. So let's see, actually I'm gonna have to switch some things around on my board here. Here we go. Now there is, speaking of opportunity, there's actually a rover that was sent to Mars, I think in 2004. Yeah, I got it right here. I'll just show you guys. Let me go over to this. I saved a couple of pages on the internet. Let's see here. There it is. Okay, so we sent a rover to Mars, and it landed in Eagle Crater. And so it actually did quite a trip. It's pretty impressive. And they actually have like a little drawing of Washington DC here, so you can actually see the kind of the distance of what this is, and also the size and appreciation for this crater right here. So its final days, or I guess its final mission, ended right over here at Marathon Valley on the edge of a cliff at Endeavor Crater. And this is kind of, I looked up what the last words for the rover was. And this is what I found. If you Google Opportunity Rover last words, you get this right here. My battery is low and it's getting dark, which is really sad. And I would just want to show you guys that because we actually have. Let's see. Let's get back over to where we are. Wilson, bring the camera back to me. All right, perfect. So we actually can connect with the rover. So we're floating in space right over where the rover's at. It's somewhere, I think somewhere, it's like past this dark area. It's somewhere in this spot right here. So we can actually connect to the thing, and I can show you this. Let's see here. Wilson and I, oh, it's down here. There we go. All right, Wilson, let's go ahead and just put the picture, just put it up in like the corner of the screen, like maybe right here or something like that, and we'll be good to go. Let's see here. All right, are we connecting to it? Perfect. Okay, so well, we'll show you a little screen of it from its point of view, just kind of so you can see Mars itself and where it was last at. So this is yeah, so it's right here at the edge of this crater. We can actually move it a little bit. So we actually have control of it. It's pretty impressive. It's managed to stay intact for so long. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so it's anyways, that's Mars for you. It's kind of a dreary looking place, but unfortunately it can't communicate with Earth anymore, so it's just kind of considered lost, and it's just kind of sitting here on top of a cliff on Mars. But yeah, that's the rover called Opportunity, and we'll try and we may have something. Wilson said he might have something going on with it at the end, so we'll wait till then to deal with that a little bit more. So without further ado, let's see here. Wilson, hi. Let's see here. Julian, how's it going? All right, thank you guys for joining. Addie, thanks for joining. Well, yeah, any point in time, if you guys have any questions, anything like that, you're more than welcome to let me know in the chat, and we'll talk about it. So let's go ahead and go over to our reading room. So it's gonna require me to walk over there, so it's gonna take a minute. So we'll just do this little let's see here, little transition right here. All right, Wilson, let's hit it. Perfect. Okay, we are here in the reading room, and I see that there are a few more chats here I'm missing. Bring out the cats. You know what, Wilson did, unfortunately, he bought about I think it was 4 cats and a dog, and I'm stuck taking care of them. It's Wilson, it's the reason why I can't help you like literally all the time. So anyways, yeah, so he brought them here on board. I'm not sure, he used Space Amazon to get them. I had no idea they delivered like that. You guys ever seen like those floating saucer things that people catch on camera every once in a while? That's Space Amazon. They go around the universe collecting things and people buy stuff. So anyways, let's see here. Is Elon there? Unfortunately, he hasn't made it out this far yet. We're waiting for him out here. So waiting for you, Elon. And yeah, all right, so I think I got caught up a little bit. DC is on the edge. Yes, that's a pretty impressive route for and for so long for that Opportunity rover just kind of move around like that. So anyways, we're actually pretty far from me. I have a couple different views here, a couple different cameras. We got this one. We might start reading from this one for now on, and that way you guys can just see me a little bit more if that's what you care for. But we also got this one right here, so we can actually have a discussion, right? So I do like to put the camera a little bit further back for whenever I'm doing a reading, because the the tension's never really on me, it's on the story. And I don't want to necessarily do anything that's really distracting. But when I introduce this story to you guys, it's called Bisclavret. And if that sounds French, it's because it is. It's actually the French word for werewolf. It's one of the name of the characters in the story. So that already kind of gives away some things, but the story gives it away right at the beginning anyways. But it's written by Marie de France, and she wrote a whole, it's called The Lays of Marie de France. And she's basically a medieval writer, wrote some really cool stories, and this is one of them. Want to make sure I read that for you guys, and then we'll kind of discuss it a little bit. But keep that in mind that this is, it's a female author. She's really, really cool. She's got some like fun fairy tales, and then topics that really make you think about some things. So with that, I think that we might be ready. Sounds like a French dish. You know what? If you could eat werewolf, it probably would be. So, okay. All right, well, if you guys are ready, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I got basically, put it on paper here. So just, yeah, I like reading stuff, that's physically on paper more than on a screen personally. But, if you hear some papers ruffling a little bit, that's why. So anyways, if you guys are ready, I think I'm ready. We'll go to the, let's see here. We like the mid view here. Let's see. Hey, this is a good one. All right. We'll go from this one right here. And yeah, might as well get started. Okay. In older days, it was common to hear of people who transformed into werewolves and reside in the great forest while in that shape. The werewolf is known to be a wild creature, devouring animals and people alike when it happened upon them. These are but tales, of course, so I will let that matter be, and we'll tell you about a man from Brittany called Bisclavret. All right. Bisclavret was a worthy man of whom I heard great praise. He was a handsome man and a good knight who conducted himself nobly. He and his king were close friends, and the community held him in highest praise. He had a very worthy wife as well, who seemed as lovely and wholesome as he did. They both loved each other very much, as far as anyone could tell, but there was something that greatly troubled her. Each week, Bisclavret would leave for 3 whole days. To where was a mystery to her and everyone else who knew him. All right, so we're going to break away from the story real quick. Just do this every once in a while to make sure that we're all on the same page with things and get people caught up if, something was distracting them or anything like that. Basically, this opening part just kind of establishes the characters, a couple of the main characters here. There's another main character, who's going to be the king. We'll cover that soon. But yeah, we established Bisclavret and the lady. And so this is one of those stories where no one really gets a name. Now, Bisclavret is technically the guy's name, but it just means werewolf. So it's not really like a real name. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, we'll just kind of go from there and keep going here. Let's see. But don't be too soothing. You'll fall asleep. Well, I'll try not to be too smoothing. We'll make it a little bit exciting here. It's actually a pretty exciting story. So, wonder if his real name is Jacob. Interesting. Oh, because Jacob, wasn't he really hairy? That might be the case. All right, let's continue here. One day when he returned home in high spirits, she questioned him. "Lord," she says, "fair, sweet beloved, I would very much like to ask you one thing, if I dared, but I am so afraid of you being angry with me that there is nothing I fear more." When he heard this, he gently held her and drew her to him and kissed her. "My lady," he said, "just ask. If it is something that I know, I would never withhold it from you." "My faith is restored," she said, "but on those days when you leave me, I am terribly anxious. I feel so sad when I think about how I might lose you. There we go. To something unknown. And if you do not get me some reassurance of your safety soon, I might die of it. Please tell me where you go on those days. The only thing I can believe is that you are in love with someone else, and if this is true, you do me wrong." "Mercy, my lady, by God," he said. "Only trouble can come from me telling you this secret. It can only serve to divide us and bring me to ruin." When the lady heard this, she did not take it lightly. She asked him many times and eventually cajoled and flattered him so much that he told her what happened on those days. "Lady, I become a werewolf. I go deep into the great forest and live on prey and plunder." When he had told her this, she inquired about his clothes, whether he wore them or removed them during this time. "Lady," he said, "I go quite naked." "Wherever do you put your clothes then?" "Lady, there is no good from telling you this, for if I should lose them while I changed, I would remain a werewolf always. I would lose all hope until they were returned to me. This is the reason I do not want it to be known." "Sir," the lady replied to him, "I love you more than anything in the whole world. You should not hide anything from me, nor mistrust me. This would not be true friendship. Have I done something wrong that you wouldn't trust me? Tell me the misdeed that you hold against me. It'll be better for you to just tell me." She pestered and tormented him so much that he eventually told her his final secret. "Lady," he said, "near the wood along the main road, there is an old chapel. This place has been a shelter for me many times. There is a hollowed out stone beneath the bushes. I put my clothes in there until I return home." After this, the lady thought about all that she had heard and grew fearful. She thought hard about how she might be rid of her husband. She did not want to love him anymore. All right, so there was a bit of back and forth there. So this is pretty interesting. It starts off with them very much talking about how much they love one another. He promises her that, I would tell you anything. If I know it, I'll tell you anything. And then as soon as she asks about his secret, he doesn't want to tell her. And then she's, giving him praise and then harassing him. She wants to know all the details. And for whatever reason, it doesn't feel, this is the only part of the conversation doesn't feel natural. As soon as he tells her he's a werewolf, she immediately asks about what happens to his clothes. I guess it's to move the plot along. But anyways, it's kind of a fun little conversation here, but it ends very sadly because she, afterward, and there's a theme in this story of fear, right? And anytime you hear the story talking about her, about the lady, think about what it's describing, how it describes her, because it uses fear quite a lot. And in this, because she's fearful, she is now decides that she doesn't want to love him anymore. So all those great words she was saying before is kind of being thrown out now, and we'll see what happens from there. So, all right, let's go ahead and just jump right back into it then. All right, there was a knight in that region who had longed for her affection a long time. He sought to court her many times and greatly devoted himself to her, even though she had never loved him or made any promises to him. She sent for this knight right away by messenger. When he arrived, she said, "Friend, rejoice! That which you have labored for will finally be granted to you without delay. I will no longer resist you. I grant you my heart and my body. Take me as your lover." He thanked her and accepted her offer, and afterward she bound him by an oath to her. Then she told him exactly what her lord had told her about where he goes and what he does. Every detail was exposed, including the details of his clothes. So she charged the knight to steal them away for her. By this, Bisclavret was betrayed and brought to ruin by his wife. All right. So we have another character introduced here, and he's typically just going to be referred to as a knight, or her new husband, or that sort of thing. So there's this knight who has basically just been simping over her for a long time. Kind of a trashy knight, right? Not a very noble one. He's been chasing after another man's wife, it sounds like. And then she just, I love the conversation. She's like, "Friend, rejoice. You're getting what you asked for now." And only after she makes him bind an oath to her, and everything else that they do, it's only after that then she lets him know about the werewolf situation. Now he has to be the one to go out and steal the clothes, right? So this is she turns pretty sour pretty quick, but this just kind of goes to show it doesn't necessarily mean that she didn't love him earlier in the story, or that she didn't mean what she said, but fear is definitely driving her decision making right now, and we see what's coming of that, and it's not good. So and by the way, so she's not just stealing his clothes. So just really think about the offense here. She's stealing his humanity, right? She's stealing her husband's humanity because he can no longer become human without these clothes. So, that's pretty crazy. Let's see here. Yeah, let's see here. Man, it sounds like she switched up really fast. Yeah, it does. This is not a good situation. So let's see how this resolves. Will she get away with it? Will there be any justice? Let's find out what Marie de France wrote. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do the far scene this time. I like the mid scene. I'm gonna do the far one. I just think that looks really cool. We'll bring it in closer in the next read. All right. Since people often lost track of Bisclavret, they just assumed he had finally left for good. He was searched for by the king urgently, but no one could find what had happened to him. After searching for a whole year, the king finally gave up and prepared a hunt to distract him from his great loss. The king and his knights went into the great forest where they found the trail of a werewolf. Now, hold up. Let me go ahead and I guess we're already going to transition here. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so this is a really important detail. I want to make sure that this is emphasized. So the king and Bisclavret, they're actually really, really good friends. I mean, I almost kind of think of them as like, I mean, obviously the king is in charge of all the knights, and Bisclavret is one of his knights, one of his lords, right? But they're really, really close friends, probably like best friends in general. So searches for him for a whole year and can't find him. And it's not like Bisclavret. He was a noble knight, you know, for him to just leave like that. Clearly there was something wrong, but if you can't find someone, you can't find him. So anyways, well, let's go ahead and jump back into the story here. All right. The king and his knights went into the great forest where they found the trail of a werewolf, and so they set his hounds to pursue the beast. All day they pursued the creature and very nearly caught it, having inflicted it many wounds, until the beast saw the king. It ran to him, gesturing to the king for mercy. It had taken the king by his stirrup and kissed his boot repeatedly. When the king saw it, he was very afraid, but the mannish nature of the creature marveled him. "Lords," the king said, "come here. Look at this wonder, a beast that humbles itself. It has human understanding. Get all the dogs away from me and do not strike it. This beast has intelligence and will not harm us. Hurry up, let's go. I'll extend my peace to this beast and hunt no more today." The king left for home, bringing the werewolf with him. It stayed close at all times, never wanting to leave the king's side. The king kept it with him at his castle and was very pleased to have such a marvelous creature in his court. He commanded everyone to take care of the creature and treat it kindly. It was to be given plenty to eat and drink. When the people saw how noble the creature was, they willingly took good care of it. It even slept among the knights, close to the king. Whenever the king had business, the creature stayed close to him. It was clear that he loved the king. One time, when the king held court, he had sent for all his vassals to celebrate with a grand party. The knight, who had Bisclavret's wife, went to this event richly dressed. He did not know he would find Bisclavret, and only assumed the creature was a different werewolf that the king had prized as a pet. As soon as he came into the palace and Bisclavret saw him, it ran toward the knight in a mad dash. It grabbed him with its teeth and began dragging him across the threshold to the king. The king, however, believed the beast would do great harm to the knight and threatened it with his staff. 2 times that day the werewolf tried to bite the knight, and all the people were astonished, since it had never acted this way before. The rumor began that the beast must have some reason for acting this way. Perhaps the knight had done it wrong, and so the creature was trying to avenge itself. Things went this way until the festivities were over, and the knight that the werewolf attacked was seen among the first to leave. Yeah, no kidding. After this, it became well known that the beast did not like that knight. All right. One more little break right here. Just kind of recap a little bit. So clearly, this knight who had helped steal away Bisclavret's clothes, apparently, and we didn't really give us details early in the story, but apparently Bisclavret had seen this knight, or at least knew what had transpired and who had done it to him. So that's really important. And then when this guy shows up, he immediately attacks him, right? Doesn't really rip him apart or anything. He just starts dragging him over to the king. And of course, they think that he's trying to hurt him. And so he's pretty upset. Goes after him quite a lot. And I love that little note about how he was one of the first to be seen to leave the festivities. He was ready to get out of there. So I think that's pretty great stuff. Let's see here. To be honest, I don't like the knight either, but I don't like the woman more. So messed up. Yeah, no, it's a pretty messed up situation. Yeah, both not good people right now. So okay, but you know what? The knight didn't get held to anything other than a little bit of shaming, but this does present a problem. You see, everyone in the kingdom so far has had this really good, I guess, relationship, if you will, with the king's new pet. He has a pet werewolf. I mean, how cool is that? And he really, really loves this werewolf, and the werewolf really likes him. And this knight, he's like the only person that this werewolf clearly doesn't like, which is publicly shaming quite a bit. So that's important to note why, or basically what happens next in the story. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and jump into, we'll do the far one this time. All right, let's get into it. The wife of the werewolf found out about this and thought she would smooth things over with the king by bringing him a rich present. Still not realizing who this werewolf was, she dressed herself in her finest and went to see the king the next day. When Bisclavret saw her, no one could hold him back. He ran toward her as though he were mad. Hear how well he avenged himself. He tore the nose from her face. What worse could he have done to her? The knights threatened him from all sides, and would surely have cut Bisclavret to pieces, when a wise man said to the king, "Sire," he said, "listen to me. The beast has been living with you, and we all have looked after it a long time. It has never touched anyone or committed any wickedness except for this lady today. By my faith to you, it must have some cause for anger against her, since it also showed anger against her current husband. This is the wife of the knight whom you were close friends with that disappeared mysteriously a year ago. We never found out what became of him. Put the lady under duress about this so that we may discover why this beast hates her so much. There have been many wondrous things to occur in Brittany before. She must tell what she knows." Right. Yeah, so this is an interesting note on this. And we can get more into it afterward. But basically, you know, there's the line in there that he tore her nose from her face, right? And then the note, and keep in mind, this is this is Marie de France who's saying this. She starts talking as the narrator and says, "What worse thing could he have possibly done to her?" Now, when I first read that, I was thinking, well, obviously he could have done far worse to her. I mean, she's alive, right? But as far as, you know, what so if something goes, if you were to have your nose taken away, right? That's a pretty difficult thing to cover up as far as beauty standards go. So a lot of her power that she's wielded so far in the story has to do with basically being a pretty lady who's able to get some knights to do what she needs them to do. In this case, just one knight, right? But this is taken away for a reason, right? So we'll talk more about it at the end of the story. But yeah, it's a permanent marring of her features. There's not really any way that she can cover that up or anything like that. Basically, she attempted to steal his humanity, and he just stole her beauty. So that's kind of the what's happening in the story right now, and that's why Marie de France says, "What worse thing could he have possibly done to her?" So, all right, let's find out what happens. Do they discover what occurred? Let's go ahead and do this view right here. All right. Right. Hold on. Let's see this. Hold up. Let's see this. I got some more chatting to catch up with. My boy Werewolf did nothing wrong. I like it. The only time I'm hashtag Team Jacob. Good stuff. All right, let's get through the rest of this werewolf story. The king accepted his counsel, this is the wise man's counsel, and ordered the knight and lady in question to be arrested. Moreover, the lady was to be made to suffer until she revealed what she knew. On account of hearing this, she became fearful, so she told all she knew right away. How she betrayed him and the adventure that he told her. How she had his clothes stolen so that he would remain a werewolf forever. She now fully believed that the beast before her was Bisclavret. The king ordered that the clothes be retrieved from her household, and they were brought back in haste. They were given to the werewolf, but when they placed them in front of it, it did not take notice. The wise man again addressed the king, "Sire, this is being done improperly. He would not dress in front of you or change his shape openly, for it is a source of great shame for him. Have him led into a room and leave the clothes there with him for a good while. We shall see if he becomes a man after that." The king himself led the beast to a room, as discussed, and closed the door. After a while, he went in there, taking 2 knights with him. All 3 entered the chamber. On the king's own bed, he found the knight, Bisclavret, sleeping. The king ran to give his recovered friend a hug and wept with joy for his return. As soon as he had the opportunity, he immediately returned all of his land to him giving him more than I could tell you. He banished the wife from the country and drove her out of the region. The man for whom she betrayed her husband was forced out as well, so he went with her. She had a number of children with him. They were quite recognizable to be her children, for many women of that line were born without noses and lived that way, noseless. The adventure you have heard is true, have no doubt. The lay was made about Bisclavret to be remembered forevermore. All right. And that is the tale of Bisclavret. Now, it was originally written in French, and obviously like old, like medieval French. So there's a few different translations out there. I basically tried to transcribe a few different English translations the best I could in my own words, so that we keep the story intact and have it worded in such a way where it wasn't too confusing. So that is that's it. Has a good ending. So I know we've covered a few stories here in the past episodes didn't have the best endings. This actually has a pretty good ending. There is justice at the end. So let's see here, dude. Voldemort was one of her kids. Bet. Oh yeah. So Voldemort would definitely be one of hers. All right. Cool. So real, that's fun. Let's see here. Oh, what is it? What does it say? There's like a big heart. Oh yeah, a quick story yet fun. Yeah. So that's the whole heart of this, right? So these stories are a lot of fun, and they have some stuff that we can talk about. Now, before I discuss the meaning, I should have done this in prior episodes, so I will do it now. There is a difference between the author's intended meaning and what can be referred to as applicable meaning. So the difference in that is that a story like let's see a good one, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, there's a clear intended meaning of that story. So if you were to sit down and be like, what does The Boy Who Cried Wolf story about? Well, it's clearly, if you lie a lot, eventually people are going to stop believing you when you lie, and then if you tell the truth, no one's going to believe you and bad things happen. That's the intended meaning of the story. There's nothing really to debate there. There's not really much of a discussion. But there's other stories that don't necessarily tell you that the author doesn't reveal their intended meaning, or the author just doesn't have an intended meaning. And it's really just themes that they're playing with and allowing you to find meaning that's applicable to it. And those are the stories that we can have like an engaging conversation, difference of opinions, and there aren't necessarily a right answer, but there's some really good answers because you can point to a lot of evidence in the story for why it means what you believe it means. And so this is one of those stories that doesn't have necessarily an intended meaning. She never says what the point of the story is. But there is some applicable meaning that I would like to apply, but just because I say this is the meaning of the story in this case doesn't mean it is the meaning of the story. So I just want to make sure that that is clear for you guys. All right, so applicable meaning that really kind of stands out for me in this is the battle of the sexes. So we have a married couple here, and some interesting stuff happens. So before we kind of break down that battle, I want to talk about the werewolf a little bit, because the werewolf is a little bit symbolic, or kind of the same thing as a knight in a lot of ways. So the knights, when they were home, they were supposed to be noble. They were supposed to have civility. They were supposed to be gentle, right? That's where we get the word gentleman from. And but when they were out doing battle and they were going to war, there was nothing gentle about them. They were in armor, they were there, they had swords, and they cut people down, right? So they were expected to be beasts out on the battlefield, out away from civil society. But when they came back to civil society, they weren't supposed to be that way. They were supposed to be now noble, civil, to do the courtly things, romance, and things like that. And so the werewolf is kind of the same thing. The werewolf is obviously a man-wolf combination. And interesting stuff is that it's not always depicted historically as something that is, or at least in mythology, as something that is just a monster, right? So it's kind of the beginning of the story described as just a monster, and then we see Bisclavret not being just a monster while he's a werewolf. But there's like a lot of it's very prominent Old Norse text, and if you read a few of those, I read Egil's Saga once, and you'll just be reading a story, and out of nowhere it just describes, oh yeah, and this person he transformed into a werewolf and in this battle and killed all these people, and he transforms back, and it was seen as this kind of like he's a great warrior. He's such a great warrior, he was able to turn into a half beast, half man wolf thing and really clean house on the battlefield and do great things in the battlefield. So he's like Viking stories. So it wasn't always seen, it was almost seen as like kind of like a superpower, almost like a blessing. Like you had to be a really good warrior to be blessed to be able to turn into a werewolf. And so we kind of see a little bit of a combination of that in here. We see it where the rumor is that they're monsters, but they aren't necessarily. But yeah, it's very symbolic of that division of a knight between civility and then being a beast, right? So when she's afraid, there's a little bit that's unwarranted about this, because she feels fear, but she feeds that fear into herself. You know, he's a knight. Yeah, I mean, he's strong, like he's capable, but he's clearly shown her that he has it under control. He goes out for 3 days, you know, blows off some steam, and he takes out all that werewolf aggression out in nature, away from civilian things. And so he's really not a danger to anyone, and he's never indicated that he is. But she feeds into that fear that she feels, and it justifies to herself to do some terrible things. And we said before, one of the great tools of chaos is fear, and that's exactly the point at which chaos enters this story, is when fear basically takes over her, and she starts justifying these really terrible things, which of course she kind of gets her own through. Well, let's talk about the woman here for a second, where and the strength that she has. And the strength that she has is a social strength. So the werewolf, the man, the knight, has physical prowess, right? Individual strength like that. And she has social strength. And this is something that's, you know, very basic in, you know, women in general in society. You know, it's not, there's a comedian who said this. It's not that, you know, people will necessarily fix all the problems that women have when they complain about them, but everyone does listen when women do, you know, when they speak and they speak up about an issue. And you can even look to Roman history. The reason they got rid of the Rex is because one woman spoke out, and it changed the world forever. She spoke out against the tyrant king, and it's the reason why they got rid of the Rexes and became a democracy. So, you know, yeah, basically, look back at the history books on that. But republic, there we go. That's what it is. So this is the strength that she has, and so this is where the battle of sexes come in, because she starts abusing her strength against him, and that's where things start rolling downhill. And I would say the intended meaning of this, and I'll jump over to your guys's chat right here and get caught up. But you know, when men and women use their strengths against one another, it just creates a mess. Like, no one wins in that situation, and it just, you know, it's just terrible. What they ought to be doing is using their strengths to lift one another up, right? Women should be using their strengths to build up men. Men should be using their strength to build up women. And that's kind of the perfect picture of what should be happening between the sexes, right? So I think that's basically what she is alluding to a little bit here. And because, you know, since she's the one who essentially abused her strength first, she loses that when she loses her nose. Like, she loses, you know, the ability to exercise that social strength, because when your face looks a lot like a skull, like the Red Skull or Voldemort or something like that, it's a little bit, I mean, skulls are an object of horror, right? So it's a little bit horrifying. And so that thing that she abused has now been taken away from her. So that's kind of the poetic justice of the story. All right. I feel like that she didn't want to be, so this is Julian, Jose. So, I feel like let's see here. I feel like she didn't want to be with him because he's a werewolf and didn't want to be associated with such a creature. Didn't seem to me that she was scared of the werewolf itself. Yeah, it wasn't like a debilitating fear, right? There was definitely some level of control she could have exercised, but yeah, I mean, even with that desire, didn't want to be associated with a werewolf or be with someone who's a werewolf, and that is a fair thing to put in there. You know, he's a monster, right? But was he really a monster? You know, is a knight who's gone and done, you know, crazy things out in war and that sort of thing. Are they not a man anymore? So I would say, you know, she had a right to feel fear, in my opinion, but she definitely she definitely went a little far with what she was doing. She could have done a lot of other healthier things to try and cope with that. But yeah, I think that's a legitimate thing to point out. Yeah, she didn't want to be associated with a werewolf. True, because he even threatened her, and he kept his identity private from her to protect her until she asked where he was. I don't know where he threatened her. Oh, I'm sorry. True, because he never threatened her. I see the asterisk there. And he kept his identity private from her to protect her until she asked where he was. There we go. I read that correctly now. Yeah. So, yeah, it's true. He was trying to keep that private. But he's not perfect, you know. He's like, I'll tell you anything. And she's like, well, tell me this. And he's like, I don't want to tell you that. You know, she got it out of him. But, yeah, it's almost, there's a little something unhealthy about that relationship between them. There we go. Yes, he never threatened her. You're absolutely right. He never did. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much the reading for today. So we gotta go over here and see what Wilson has for us as far as earning your like and subscribe. What could possibly go wrong? We've had a few blunders in the past, but I am hopeful that we are going to nail it this time. We will earn it. You won't have to just give a temporary like and subscribe like you have in the past. We'll get it for real this time. So let's go ahead and let's bring this all the way back forward. Wilson, let's see here. Let's go to... yeah, we'll hit this. All right. Okay. We're still turning. Okay, that's cool. All right, well, we are gonna get this lined back up. We had to turn around so that, you know, Mars was behind us for the reading room earlier. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Get this all set up, and then I'll pass it over to you, Wilson. All right, you're in position. Make sure we lock that in place, and there we go. It's a beautiful scene. Okay, so Wilson, what do you got for us? Community service. All right. Well, Wilson says that he's going to do a little bit of community service. So this has to do with opportunity. Oh, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Speaking of community service, you know what would be really cool? I just thought this. You know, it'd be really cool. It would be amazing if. Okay, so. Opportunity is just sitting there on the edge of that cliff, and it's just rotting there, right? Like, it deserves, after all the hard work it did for humanity, it deserves a proper burial. That's what I think it needs. All right, Wilson, let's go ahead and can you connect with it and give me control over it? No. Wilson, this has got to be the best idea. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm reading your mind. So let's connect to this thing. Let's see here. All right, so, okay. Oh, we're getting the full screen. All right, let's connect to it. Let's do this. Hold up, Wilson. No. Disconnect. We need some music. Let's see here. We've got this. All right. Let's, here we go. You guys ready for it? Oh no. It's muted. Wilson, unmute my stuff, Wilson. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Are you guys ready for this? You guys ready to send opportunity over the edge and give it the proper burial it deserves? Let's do this. Let's see here. All right, let's connect it. Reconnect it, Wilson. Wilson! Okay, here we go. Perfect. Yes. Let's do this. All right. Connecting. All right, Wilson, I'm just going for it. No, Wilson, no, I'm concentrating right now. Yes, I'm going for it, Wilson. Let's do this. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh. Let's go. Oh shoot. What? Wilson, we lost the feed. Wilson, we lost the feed. Hold up. Did it? Okay, all right. Well, all right. Well, I think did it hit the ground yet? It just now hit. Okay, because is it buried? Oh, it exploded. Oh, I thought it was more durable than that. That was a pretty steep cliff. Well, okay. All right. Well, there we go. We have successfully, put opportunity down where it can be buried by the sands of Mars and have an appropriate burial. Why didn't we just bring it back to Earth? Was that your idea? Oh. Well, the reason is, shoot, dang it. Listen, we could have been heroes. They would have named the museum after us and everything. Ah, dang it. You know what? Just get us back to Earth. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Wilson, when you have a good idea, you got to tell me. No, Wilson, just get my attention next time. Ah, come on. Ridiculous. All right. I'm sorry, guys. Wilson just let us drive it over the edge instead of just bringing it back to Earth, and we can't now. It's in pieces. Oh, I'm not gonna bring NASA a broken rover and then they're gonna see this video and know exactly what we did to it. We have plausible deniability right now, and I can just say this is all just movie magic. So yeah. Anyways, let's get this thing back to Earth. Let's go. All right. Okay, so let's let me catch up on chats here while we do our quick little adventure back to home. Let's see. Let's go. Recycling would have been a good choice too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I had the second best idea on what to do with it, to be honest. But yeah, let's see here. We want to make sure we get fixed in place here. Okay, well, with that, I do believe that will kind of wrap up our time together today. So before you leave, I'm so sorry that Wilson didn't stop us and we didn't bring the Mars rover back. Wilson, you'll have to try harder next time on your segment. And then we'll properly earn your like and subscribe. Now, keep this in mind. This show is for all humans. Our goal here is to fight back against the chaos and bring people together. So that's what we're trying to do here. And we cannot do that without your guys' help. So if you know a human, share this video with them, hit that like, make a comment below if you're watching this after the fact. And even if you're watching it right now, you can leave a comment on there afterward. I will basically edit these and put them out as their own standalone videos because live streams don't really get the same kind of visibility. So when I put those out, if you guys would be so kind to help us generate more traffic to the channel, we'll get this to the whole world. I'm pretty sure, how many human beings are on the planet, Wilson? I mean, you're not a calculator. Just, you know what? Fine. I'll look it up myself. No. I'll look it up myself. Don't worry about it. Human population. I'm reading it out loud. So you know what, Wilson? There we go. We have access to the internet. 8.1 billion. I'll be generous. I'll say, you know what? There's probably people who are too young to really, or too old or whatever. I don't know. There's going to be people out there who don't have access to the internet or whatever the case is. And so we can't get 8.1 billion subscribers. But I think we can get a generous 1 billion subscribers on here, and we could tell stories to the whole world, giving stories that belong to people. It belongs to you guys, right? These are human stories. They belong to you. We'll bring people together by sitting around the campfire, so to speak, up here in space, if that makes sense. And yeah, we'll help bring the world back together because the world is full of chaos and it definitely needs all the help it can get. So with that, we're going to go ahead and go to our outro video, as long as there are no other chats that I need to catch up with here. Go hashtag Team Wilson. I don't know, like where's hashtag Team Captain Tom? I'd like to see that hashtag start growing. Hashtag will like for Wilson. Well, you guys are you guys are too kind. So with that, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's hit the outro, Wilson, and get this thing all wrapped up. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. and I'll catch you guys next time.
I know the air I'm breathing, it's no good for my lungs. I do this every season, I hate when summer comes. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already.
Wilson, we need to work on getting these animals out of here. Whoa, Wilson, hold up. No, we agreed not to do this whole back and forth. Missed opportunity. But by the way, actually, I feel like we nailed it, to be honest. And why is Captain in parentheses? Wilson, what do you have to say for yourself? We agreed not to do this. My bad, freaking Wilson. All right, you guys said you were hashtag Wilson or whatever. All right, let's do this.
I'll take a hit, I love it. Can you give me a second? I'm slow, got blurry.
Yes, everyone enjoying the live stream, thank you so much. All the artists listed in the description, please check them out. It definitely enriches everything that we do here. And to every brave subscriber, thank you. You keep us flying. We'll see you next time.
Unable to slow down now. Please help me see the things that I am. I don't understand. I'm doing the best that I can right now, but it's never enough. I'm not even ready to slow down. Just slow down.
See you guys next time.